So now I'm very thrilled to introduce the next team from Team 33. They are going to share the topic about aging population and the challenge of elderly care. Please welcome.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gabriel, and today I'll be talking about aging populations and the challenge of elderly care. So first, I'll talk about what the issue is and why exactly it's important. After that, I'll talk about existing policies that the government has already implemented to help. Then I'll introduce my own possible policies, and then I'll choose the best policy out of those. So what is the issue and why is it important? Well, according to Taiwan's National Development Council, by the year of 2024, almost 20% of Taiwanese population has already reached the age of 65. This shows that they're slowly becoming a majority group in Taiwan, and that care for them must be acknowledged. Policies that help the elderly would affect the elderly, obviously, because they're the ones receiving the care, and they would also help the working class, since the working class are the children of the elderly, and they usually fall in the responsibility of the job of elderly care, as well as other responsibilities like childcare and their usual daily jobs. So what has the government already done to help? One policy that the government has is the NIH, or the National Health Insurance. It was launched in 1995, and its purpose is to provide healthcare to all citizens. This is important because as people age, more problems tend to surface up, like maybe mental disabilities like Alzheimer's or dementia, or even physical disabilities like weak joints or even heart attacks and strokes. Another policy that the government implemented is long-term care 3.0. It's basically a care plan that puts elderly people together in the community so that they can have fun together and share together during daytime. So basically just fosters community with them because they get to be together, and there's also technology in these centers so it can enhance healthcare and help make sure they're doing all right. It also gives them companionship so they don't have to stay at home alone when the working class are out working. Elderly transportation prices have also been implemented. Elders have special elderly cards that they can use to take a bus. So if they take 10 kilometers, it's free. But however, some public transportation isn't as easily accessible for all people. Like places in the east, like Taidong and Hualien, they don't really have like metros and buses that much. And some of them might have weak joints that they can't stand in buses. So some cities also give taxi allowance, with cities going up as high as $1,000 a month for them to spend. So what are the more possible policies that the government could implement? Well, my first proposal would be intergenerational care facilities. How this would work would be it would merge kindergartens and nursing homes together in one place. And they would have timely health checks since both groups have relatively low immune systems compared to adults, and they would also hold educational activities such as vocabulary or puzzle activities so they can both move their minds. Pros of this would be efficiency benefits, since it's in space because it merges two groups into one space, so you don't have to have kindergartens and nursing homes. And it also saves time since the working class don't have to send these two groups to separate places. They just have to go to one place, send them there, and then they can just go out to work. And it will also save human resources since you only need one set of staff for both groups. Emotional benefits are also there because they can reduce loneliness for the elderly as they get to play with their grandchildren more or even other kids. And by educating these young children, it gives them a renewed sense of purpose. And that increases their joy and positivity more since we all like to feel a sense of purpose. Educational benefits are also there. As elderly engage in different activities, like I mentioned before, puzzles and vocabulary games, they can get to exercise their mind a little more, rather than just stay at home scrolling their phones and doesn't help as much. Vocabulary exposure might happen to the children because in a learning environment, the elderly can teach them like new words, and teachers teach them new words, and they get different kinds of exposure from different places, which is sort of an informal learning experience. And gives them a different mindset of thinking as they grow up, which differs from different children, and they will have different problem-solving activities from other children when they get into elementary school. However, there are still cons to this plan, such as health risks, since, as mentioned before, both groups have relatively low immune systems, so disease transmission will be very common. And overstimulation and stress could happen to the elderly, since they're around hyperactive children all day. And medication risks are also possible, since many elderly take medicines, and if they just leave their medicines lying around, some children might consume them by accident. And that's not good for the children. Training costs are also another con, since the staff will need to have a dual specialization requirement, and also longer training periods, which would require higher wages and also high training costs, which would mean higher taxes for the people, since it would be a government operation. Unequal participation might also happen, since some parents wouldn't want to send their children out playing with elder people, and some of the working class don't want to send their kids off to play with children. So there could be an unequal representation between children and elderly. And some of the activities, such as outdoor sports activities, might also limit participation for the elderly people, since they might not have as strong bodies as the children. My second proposal would be a National Council of Senior Affairs. How this would work would be it would exist a branch of government with members composed 65 and above. They would be elected by other elders across the country, and they would review laws and regulations relating to the elderly. Pros of this include equal representation, since it addresses age-based underrepresentation and strengthens inclusive democracy. Because right now in the government, there's a trend where politicians are becoming younger and younger and younger, meaning that in Taiwan, politics is transferring to the hands of young people, and older people have less representation inside. So this could really help with that problem. And it would also enhance policy effectiveness, since the elderly know best exactly what they need, and there will be improved implementation and also the correct budget allocations where they need to be. It would also raise public awareness, since Taiwanese government is often featured on their social media feeds, and it would let the young people know that Taiwan is actually doing something for the elder people. Cons of this, however, would be age-based bias, since it's the council full of senior people, and they would of course prefer policies that help them, and might even pass policies that will harm the younger generation. And they could also prefer short-term or long-term plans because they don't really have much time left. I know it's rude, but it's true. Institutional overlap might also happen because obviously there are already policies that help the older people, meaning that ministry already covered these services. So if they pass policies that actually, if they pass new policies, it might counter other policies, and there might be confusion or even resource inefficiency within the government. Politicization might also happen, since whenever there's government, there's always politics and political parties involved. So these elderly people might actually make decisions that help their political parties instead of the people. So what would be the best policy? I believe that intergenerational centers would be the better policy, because one, it solves two problems at once, taking care of two groups in one place, both the young and the elderly. And two, there is no politics involved, unlike a council for seniors. This is just humans caring for other humans. And when humans are cared for, it just brings a sense of human warmth, and it's good for the people. And it will also bring an increased sense of community, since it will bring two groups of people who don't really get together much, and then you put them in one place, and they could just play together and have fun together and even learn from each other. And four, it will have flexible program design, because it's really just an informal learning place, and the children wouldn't get the same education as they would get in other kindergartens run by private institutions or the government. And it would have other adaptive activities like the vocab learning or the puzzle activities that I mentioned before. These are my sources, and that's my presentation. Thank you for listening.
Any questions from our judges about his ideas and solution research?
don't have any questions, but I do have some comments.
Sure.
That was great. I love your flow. Very relaxed. Yeah, no, one thing I want to mention is your PowerPoint. Very simple. I love that because most of it is from your brain. You don't have to look at it. Just click. You talk. So I really like that. Just one comment I want to tell you. Thank you.
I also have similar feedback with Vivian. I really like the presentation she did. Like this kind of humor that makes us feel that like you're not nervous. Like to be a high school student, not to be nervous, stressed in front of like so many people to do a presentation. It's not easy. So we do appreciate that. And then and also the idea, the solutions that you cover is like you cover different angles. Cost, safety, and also you are trying to make use of different group of people to help each other. I really like that part because the community is different. And it also come with what a coincidence with the previous one is younger generations, the housing problem. And you're facing the aging problem that kind of we can actually bring a combination, maybe a solutions can solve different issues. Like for younger kids, for kindergarten kids, they may not have parents to look after, then you can actually use elderly to look after them and bring the kindergarten kids to in front of elderly to make their life happier. So I really like the angle that you did.
Any comments or challenges? Yes.
Maybe just try to raise a challenge for your second policy. I know you kind of prefer the first one.
Yes.
Frankly, I do too, so I think you made the right choice there.
Thank you.
But you propose age-based representation
Yes.
in that. But then in your assessment of it, you instantly say that age-based bias is an issue.
Yes.
So why create that as a condition for that part?
Well, because when it comes to elderly people, I just believe that they would know better what they need. Also, as I mentioned before,
Sorry, can I challenge you on that?
Yes.
Does that mean that all men's affairs should only be addressed by men and women shouldn't have any opinions on men's issues?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that in your case, men will know better what men need. I'm not saying women wouldn't know what
A
men
lot of women would disagree with you.
Really like this conversations because I study in UK, Western country, equality is very important. Everyone can charge each other nicely, so how you respond is very important.
Yes, so I would say that you would know yourself better than other people would know you. So basically, you would know what you need better. However, since it's a branch of government, it would still need to go for other branches of government for policies to be implemented. So younger generation would also be taking a look at these policies before everyone decides, yes, this is the way to go. However, since they would affect the elderly people directly, they should get to make a first choice on what they need more. Does that make sense?
It does. Very well done in keeping your composure.
Thank you.
Any question? No? Thank you very much.